The victory of the underdog over the favored team, the last-minute penalty shot that wins the tournament, the high-energy training montages. Many people love to glorify victory on the playing field, cheer for favorite teams, and play sports. But here's a question. Should we be so obsessed with sports? Is playing sports actually as good for us as we make it out to be, or just a fun and entertaining pastime? What does science have to say? First of all, it's well accepted that exercise is good for our bodies and minds, and that's definitely true. Exercising, especially when we're young, has all sorts of health benefits, like strengthening our bones, clearing out bad cholesterol from our arteries, and decreasing the risk of stroke, high blood pressure, and diabetes. Our brains also release a number of chemicals when we work out, including endorphins. These natural hormones, which control pain and pleasure responses in the central nervous system, can lead to feelings of euphoria, or what's often called a runner's high. Increased endorphins and consistent physical activity in general can sharpen your focus and improve your mood and memory. So does that mean we'd get just as much benefit going to the gym 5 days a week as we would joining a team and competing? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Because it turns out that if you can find a sport and a team you like, studies show that there are all sorts of benefits that go beyond the physical and mental benefits of exercise alone. Some of the most significant are psychological benefits, both in the short and long term. Some of those come from the communal experience of being on a team. For instance, learning to trust and depend on others, to accept help, to give help, and to work together towards a common goal. In addition, commitment to a team and doing something fun can also make it easier to establish a regular habit of exercise. School sport participation has also been shown to reduce the risk of suffering from depression for up to 4 years. Meanwhile, your self-esteem and confidence can get a big boost. There are a few reasons for that. One is found in training. Just by working at skills, especially with a good coach, you reinforce a growth mindset within yourself. That's when you say, even if I can't do something today, I can improve myself through practice and achieve it eventually. That mindset is useful in all walks of life. And then there's learning through failure, one of the most transformative long-term benefits of playing sports. The experience of coming to terms with defeat can build the resilience and self-awareness necessary to manage academic, social, and physical hurdles. So even if your team isn't winning all the time, or at all, there is a real benefit to your experience. Now, not everyone will enjoy every sport. Perhaps one team is too competitive or not competitive enough. It can also take time to find the sport that plays to your strengths. That's completely okay, but if you spend some time looking, you'll be able to find a sport that fits your individual needs. And if you do, there are so many benefits. You'll be a part of a supportive community. You'll be building your confidence. You'll be exercising your body, and you'll be nurturing your mind. Not to mention having fun.
Hello everyone. My research proposal focuses on the relationship between team sports participation and children's social behavior. Specifically, I am examining how sports influence social development, including skills such as cooperation, communication, emotional regulation, and peer relationships. While previous research has shown many benefits of youth sports, there's still a gap in understanding whether these skills transfer into other areas of children's lives, such as school, family relationships, and broader social interactions. Additionally, access to sports is not equal for all children, and this creates an important social issue that requires us to conduct further investigation. So, social development is one of the most important parts of childhood because children are constantly and consistently learning how to interact with others. During this stage of life, children develop skills such as communication, cooperation, resolving conflicts, and emotional control. From a social psychology perspective, behavior is shaped through interactions with the environment and the people around us. Team sports, thus, create a unique environment because children are placed in situations where they must communicate or work toward a shared goal or respond to feedback. The reason this topic matters, then, is because these early social experiences can influence how children function later in schools, relationships, and their communities. So the larger issue is not that every child has the same access to these developmental opportunities. Participation in organized sports can be affected by factors such as financial resources, community programs, transportation, social support, and beyond. And then this becomes a social concern because if sports provide these opportunities to practice important social skills, then unequal access can create differences in a child's opportunities to develop those skills. So research by Schroeder and colleagues show that social and economic factors influence participation in sports, while Wolbring and colleagues emphasize the importance of social support in children's physical activity behaviors. The concern, though, is not only who plays the sports, but what developmental opportunities children may be missing when they cannot participate in these activities. So, the main social psychology theory connected to this topic is social learning theory. And social learning theory explains that children learn behaviors by observing others, interacting with their environment, receiving reinforcement, etc. So, in a sports setting, children observe coaches and teammates demonstrating communication, teamwork, and problem solving. But they also experience reinforcement when positive behaviors are encouraged. Therefore, because sports are highly social environments, they provide a setting where children can practice and develop behaviors that may influence their interactions outside of athletics. Research by Canal Dominguez and colleagues examined how sports influence social values and behavioral education. Their findings suggest that participation in sports can encourage responsibility, cooperation, teamwork, and positive social behaviors. This supports the idea that sports are not only physical activities, but also learning environments. Children are constantly practicing how to communicate, handle challenges, and work with others. From a social psychology perspective, these experiences may shape the development of social behaviors that extend beyond the playing field. Further, Hasty and Sharp conducted the effects of a sport education curriculum on positive social behavior among at-risk rural youth, and their findings showed improvements in positive social behaviors through participation in structured sports programs. And this research is important specifically because it shows that sports may provide opportunities for children who may struggle in other environments. Organized activities can create a sense of belonging, provide positive role models, and encourage behaviors that support social development. Further research by Samilat Rivera and Porreta examined the influence of social skills instruction within sports for students with emotional or behavioral disorders. Their findings showed that combining sports participation with intentional social skills instruction improved behaviors during activities. This suggests that sports alone may not automatically create positive outcomes. The environment, coaching approach, and guidance provided within that environment are important factors in helping children develop social skills. Haghihai and colleagues explored how physical training strategies influence children with autism while remaining in the realm of talking about disorders. Their research found improvements in physical fitness, behavior, and social skills. This is significant because it demonstrates that sports and physical activities can be adapted to support children with different developmental needs. A major goal of future research however, should be understanding how sports environments can become more inclusive and supportive for all children, as we should not be labeling children. Jelena Saab and colleagues examined the relationship between physical activities and children's motor and social skills. Their research suggests that movement-based activities can support social development by encouraging interaction, engagement, and cooperation. This connects to the larger idea that social skills develop through repeated experiences. The earlier children have these opportunities, in essence, to practice these skills, means the more opportunities they have to strengthen them throughout the course of their development. Kirkpatrick and colleagues, on the other hand, examined coaches' beliefs about shy children in sports. And their research highlighted an important point of participation alone does not guarantee social growth. The environment created by coaches and teammates matters. You can think of a child who is naturally quieter or more hesitant being able to benefit more from a sport when they're included and encouraged. And this is shown through social development and kind of an anecdote of the quiet kid that is encouraged through a sport and ends up getting a scholarship in college and can eventually go on to play a professional sport. And this highlights that social development depends not only on being present in a group, but also on feeling supported within that group. So Perkins and Le Menstrel emphasized the importance of positive youth development environments. Youth programs can provide relationships, support systems, and opportunities for growth, as we've touched on. But sports can also function as one of these developmental environments because they connect children with peers, mentors, and communities, which expands the importance of the topic beyond individual children because strong social development contributes to healthier communities overall. And now we get into the research gap, where although current research demonstrates that sports can improve social behaviors, there are still important questions that remain unanswered. Most studies focus on immediate outcomes, like participation or behavior during sports. But the gap is understanding whether children carry these skills into other areas of life. For example, does teamwork learned on the field influence classroom behavior? Does conflict resolution practiced during games improve relationships outside of sports? These unanswered questions create the need for additional research. And so my proposed research would examine whether participation in team sports predicts social behaviors outside of athletic settings. The study would focus on whether children involved in sports demonstrate stronger communication skills, conflict resolution abilities, and peer relationships in themselves. It would also examine, though, whether differences in access to sports create a difference in social development. The goal would be to better understand how sports can be used as a social development intervention. And so the potential impact of future research, the results of this research could have practical applications across multiple areas, really. Schools could use findings to develop social emotional learning opportunities. Psychologists could explore sports-based interventions better. Coaches could improve how they support different types of children. But most importantly, communities could better understand the importance of providing access to positive social environments for children. This research has the potential to help address not only individual development, but also broader social inequalities. Therefore, in conclusion, team sports represent more than a physical activity. They are environments where children learn how to communicate, cooperate, solve problems, and build strong relationships. Current research supports the positive role sports can have in social development, but more research is needed to understand long-term effects and the impact of unequal access. By studying this gap, social psychologists can better understand how childhood environments shape behavior and how communities can create stronger developmental opportunities for children. Thank you.